On the biggest stage in the world, FanDuel's changing the game because sometimes your player gets subbed off and your bet goes with them. Not anymore. With FanDuel's Super Sub, if your player's subbed out, your bet stays in. That's right. If your player leaves the match, your bet continues on with the substitute. So you're still in it until the final whistle. Visit FanDuel.com. Get started now. Let there be goals this summer on FanDuel.
21 plus select states for Kansas in affiliation with Kansas Star Casino. 18 plus DCKYWY. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. 1-800-MY-RESET. 888-789-7777. Visit ccpg.org/chat. Connecticut. Visit mdgamblinghelp.org. Maryland. Visit gamblinghelplinema.org. Call 800-327-5050. Massachusetts. Call 877-8-HOPE-NY. Text HOPE-NY in New York. Call 877-770-7867. Louisiana.
Visit FanDuel.com. Get started now. Let there be goals this summer on FanDuel.
Listen, all you New Yorkers. Excuse me. Taxi.
Okay, man, we're looking around.
This is the 77 WABC minicast.
Andrew Giuliani. So here he is, my buddy Andrew. Andrew, we've talked about this for months and months and months. It's about here. But there was Mamdani again yesterday. And, you know, I keep yelling at the president. I text him, stop saying nice things about him. He did it again just 3 days ago. Called Mamdani a nice guy, a smart guy. He does tend to attack him now occasionally, but he always has to preface it by saying he's a nice guy. He's not a nice guy. He hates Americans, he hates cops, he hates Jews, he hates everybody. He's not a nice guy, but he does love soccer. But he took the administration to task yesterday. You heard that cut. What are your thoughts on that?
Sid, first off, and always great to be on with you. But I have to tell you, this is just an example of the mayor lying directly to New Yorkers. There has not been one player that's been denied a visa coming in for the World Cup. 35 of the 40 teams that will start in the United States have come into the United States. Not one player has been denied a visa.
Not one.
Not one coach.
Well, what about this coach from Somalia? This guy who's a big deal, I guess.
He's not a coach. This guy is a ref, and this guy was talking to very bad people. There's a very good reason why he didn't. Secretary Rubio made very, very clear the other day that we are not going to allow terrorists to use the guise of a soccer tournament to come into the United States, and that is the position of the U.S. government. If Mamdani wants to ultimately allow a soccer tournament to give people the opportunity, look, we've facilitated 35 of the 40 teams that will start in the United States of America already. The other 5 teams will be coming in the coming days. There's been not one player that's been denied. There's not been one coach that's been denied. There's been one referee that's been denied, and it's for very good reason. And we can't talk about that without being in a skiff. I can't talk about the reasons on the radio, but I could tell you we are executing the President and Secretary Rubio's vision on this. We are not going to let a soccer tournament get in the way of national security. And we're not going to let the soccer tournament be a reason for having bad actors come into the United States to potentially do harm against Americans. It's that clear. It's that simple. Maybe Mayor Mamdani does not care about the welfare of New Yorkers. Maybe that's just the case. But guess what? President Trump does. He's going to make sure that this tournament is successful. He's going to make sure that this tournament is safe in spite of having to work around mayors like Mamdani. And we're going to do everything we possibly can to make sure that this tournament and America's 250th birthday is an incredible celebration of American exceptionalism all around.
Going on at the same time, of course, because your tournament starts this Thursday and it goes right through July the 19th. So it's 15 days after we're going to celebrate Independence Day in this country. So it's an amazing time to be an American. And you got to think to yourself, Mamdani's a big soccer guy. Uganda soccer. He talks about the Knicks. He's a liar. I mean, give me a break. He thinks we play basketball games in stadiums. He doesn't realize we play basketball in arenas. He's a moron. But he loves soccer. No one can argue that. You would think he would go into this really positive and excited. Games in New York, his favorite sport, the world sport, but still looking for a reason to piss on Trump's parade, right? Still.
Well, Sid, it's not even him. It's his handlers who gave him something to read, right? I mean, he's very good at reading whatever his handlers give him to read. So it's that simple. His handlers told him that the best thing to do was to go and criticize the president, So he did it, and he did it with a smile, and he did it with whatever charm he could muster up.
Does the president know? I mean, he criticizes the president about ICE. He's called the president's administration evil. He's used that word about ICE. He used the same word evil when we started Operation Epic Fury that Saturday morning in Tehran. He's ripped the president time and time again for other countless policies, and yet the president continues to say he's a nice guy, and people tell me the president's playing chess, and no one has more respect for President Trump than I do, but he's not. He's not playing chess against this guy. I'm starting to feel like Mamdani's playing chess because he keeps getting the last laugh. Does the president not know what this guy is saying?
Look, all I could tell you is I have full faith and confidence in President Trump. I mean, I've seen him manage relationships from Putin to Xi to, world leaders that have all different types of feelings on the United States of America and malintent to the United States of America. So I have absolutely utmost confidence in President Trump and the way that he's able to handle this, this boy mayor, basically.
Yeah,
but what I can tell you is that in this instance, in this scenario, he's utilizing the World Cup to tell lies about what this administration is doing. I mean, what we've done is we've struck a balance between national security and also still facilitating the travel of people to the United States. Let me just say a couple of different statistics which will blow your mind in terms of what we've actually done to get people to come to the United States for these World Cup games. Of the 19 ESTA countries, so those are mostly the European countries, the 19 ESTA countries that have qualified, think England, Scotland, Portugal, France, etc., we have processed in the first half of this fiscal year over 5 million ESTA applications. Wow. Again, 5 million ESTA applications in the first 6 months of this year. Truly incredible. Argentina, Brazil, two countries that they like their soccer, I would say. Argentina, the defending champions. Buenos Aires had a B1, B2 visitor visa wait time of over 300 days under Biden. 300 days under Biden, yet Biden was welcoming the world. 300 days. Those wait times today are down to 2 days. That's right, 2 days. Wow. Now, guess what? Everybody's going to have to go through the security procedures. They're not going to go around that, but we are functioning the ability to adjudicate that faster than any other administration ever. Brazil, we know they're in Morristown, New Jersey, 5-time World Cup champions. They travel in mass. 700-day wait time under Biden Brazil had just to get your B1, B2 visa appointment. That's now down to 2 weeks today. There's no other administration other than the Trump administration that could do this and could strike that balance between making sure bad actors do not get in the country for this while still welcoming the world for our 250th birthday.
Are you worried? Because you've mentioned that those two words, bad actors, a couple of times. And you keep talking about national security, which makes me happy because, I'll enjoy it. I'm not the biggest soccer fan in the world. You know that, Andrew, but I'll enjoy this. I'm a big patriot. I'm going to love every second of American soccer. But I'm more worried about the safety of Americans. So are you a little worried or not really?
Look, I can tell you that we have tripled down on the intelligence side of this. I can tell you the incredible work that not just the federal government has done to the credit of the NYPD, Jersey State Troopers, and all of our law enforcement partners around the country. We've worked with 400 different law enforcement organizations around the country to prepare for this, to make sure that the country is prepared for this. And what you see with this Somali referee is that we are able to strike that balance to make sure that, again, bad people do not get in the country. There are some people, there are fans that have gotten denied for their visa because they've used the World Cup as a guise to try to come into the country.
Sure.
So for me, I think we are in a fantastic place to be able to celebrate this. What I would tell New Yorkers is, just if you see something, I'm going to go back to the old Rudy Giuliani line from the 1990s. If you see something, say something. Very, very important to be vigilant throughout this process. We want to make sure that this is an unbelievable event, and that starts first and foremost with public safety.
Tell me about ticket sales. I know obviously Brazil plays, like you said, Argentina plays. I know we open up on the West Coast. I don't know how France and Senegal is selling at Giant Stadium coming up in a couple of days. So what do ticket sales look like with this big tournament about to start?
Well, they've been through the roof. For context, the most tickets ever sold in the World Cup was actually back in the 1994 World Cup when it was hosted here in the United States. At 3.5 million tickets sold. They've played 6 other iterations of the World Cup. They actually expanded from 24 to 32 teams. They never were able to top that 3.5 million mark, always between the 3 and the 3.5 million mark that they sold. This year, there are 48 teams, so more games. FIFA has already sold 6 million tickets. 6 million tickets to the World Cup. So that's why when I hear people are saying, well, people don't want to travel to the United States of America because of this or that, I say the metrics tell you the story, and the story is the exact opposite. That story is that when you add a global event like the World Cup and you add the leadership of the 45th and 47th President of the United States, you have truly the golden age of America, and that's exactly what we're seeing in the metrics.
Tell me about the travel, though, because I know that some of these Democrat cities, and Andrew, it's your job to speak to all of them, right? You can't be that Republican gubernatorial candidate because you're dealing with blue cities. You got to talk to blue mayors and blue state governors. But we know, for example, that Mikey Muhammad Sherrill in New Jersey and our terrible governor here in New York, Kathy Hochul, they went out of their way to bump ticket prices. I'm talking about travel, right? Train and just getting back and forth to these events. Has all that kind of calmed down?
Well, Sid, they've actually taken credit for the work that the federal government did. So let me lay this out for you here as well, too, right? The federal government, led by Secretary Duffy and President Trump, back in March, so far before New Jersey decided to set this debacle of train ticket prices, gave a $100 million transportation grant for the 11 host cities.
Well, Chuck Schumer says that's not true. Chuck Schumer says that's not true.
Well, look, if you want to believe Chuck Schumer right there, then I got a bridge to sell you a little bit west or east. I'll tell you that. The Holland Bridge. How about that? There's a bridge called the Holland Bridge. How about that? I'm going to sell you that, okay? Yeah. But basically, $100 million for the 11 host cities. 10.4 million of those dollars go to New York, New Jersey. Now, Sid, we're talking about the upwards estimate of travelers to Giant Stadium, and I still call it Giant Stadium.
Me too. Love it.
There you go. To Giant Stadium for the 8 games is 40,000 people. For most games, it's 10 to 15,000 for Giant or Jet games. But we know that Brazilians, we know the French are going to use public transportation to get out there. So 40,000 is kind of that upward max estimate that the New York, New Jersey host committee, along with the federal government, had. If you average that over 8 games, again, taking $10.4 million, 40,000 riders per game over 8 games, that ends up averaging out to $31, over $31 a round-trip ticket to go from Penn Station out to the Meadowlands. Now, if you look at what a normal cost of a Giant game or a concert going out there, it's $12.90. So this was just a price gouge by New Jersey to do this. We leaned back in when we saw that, and we said, wait a second, these federal dollars are to make sure the fans don't get ripped off. What can we do about this? And they were able to create a $20 bus ticket for the majority of fans to go from the Port Authority out to the Meadowlands. So again, it's great work by the president. If you look at other cities, Philadelphia, it's tough to compliment Philadelphia as a Giant fan in the same segment over here, but they've done a great job with their public transportation. It's $2.50. Kansas City, it's $5 a bus ride, including a tournament pass for $50. So, I mean, that's really where I think leadership in the state and city also is so important.